Hey guys, Corey from Aquarium Co-op here, and today I want to show you how to build a fish room stand or a rack of tanks using cinder blocks and 2x4s and require no tools. It is helpful if you have a tape measure, but that you don't even have to have it. There'll be no cutting, no drilling, nothing like that. So stay tuned and watch how it builds. Also, it's helpful to have a pair of gloves, but not needed. So here's what the stand looks like completed. This is just to give you a heads up, so that way you know if you want to watch the rest of the video. But we're going to use cinder blocks. We've got our 2x4s. These are 10 feet long. These cinder blocks are 6 inches by 8 inches tall by 16 long. Normal cinder blocks are 8 by 8 by 16. These ones are only 6 by 8 by 16. Which happens to work out perfectly so that you can run a center support, and you can run 4 20-gallon tanks like this. You can also run a 55-gallon up top, a 55-gallon down low, and the same on this row. So you can also do some modifications and make 40-breeder racks and 10-gallon tanks and all those, but those don't work out perfect on dimensional lumber. So this, you literally just walk into a Home Depot or in Lowe's, you buy the supplies, and then you're going to watch me put it together. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we're going to get started. Got my gloves on. The gloves are purely so that your hands don't become super dry and get all torn up from working with cinder blocks. And I'm going to talk, and then if I can find some rad music, I'm going to pipe in some, some busy work music or something like Benny Hill, I don't know. Well, that'd be illegal for YouTube, but anyway, I'll find something, and you can watch how fast it's going to go together. I'm going to start moving cinder blocks. Alright, so let's talk cinder blocks for a second. First, cinder blocks are strongest when the holes are pointed upwards. They are at their weakest when they're on their side like this. So we want them vertical. Let's say you have a block that isn't quite sitting right. The best way to level it is to run another block over them like this. That will get any of the concrete or the cinder block abnormalities off it. It's kind of like sanding. So we've almost got our first row going here. Now you can set your first row as low as you like, but keep in mind the higher it is, one, it's going to be easier to view, two, it's going to be easier to work on. So if we have our tank sitting down here, it's going to be hard to get a siphon started, or it's going to be hard to get your drain line in if you're running automatic drains, but maybe you're just setting up a stand. But also take into account how many rows you're going to do. This stand we're going to make is only going to do 2 rows. I'm long past the fitting 3 rows in a tank rack just because it makes it too hard to work on. And pretty soon you've only got 5 or 6 inches between the tanks to work on them, stuff like that. I like having a foot or more, honestly. It just makes life so much easier. But now I'm going to use that tape measure, and you can technically use anything. We just want to make sure that the spacing from the wall, or in my case this stand, is equal on each part. And if you don't already have a stand lined up like this to go off of, we also might need to measure between the blocks and make sure we have at least 48 inches, actually 49 inches if you're stacking 2 tanks, or a 55 in between. It it just makes it easier long term. You can technically adjust all that at the end, but then you got to move blocks, stuff like that. So if we can get our base block set first, it makes building a stand a whole lot easier. The talking is taking more than the building, honestly, but I want to make sure you don't miss things, so that way you don't have to deconstruct it and put it back together and waste time. So I'm going to grab my tape measure. So, handy dandy tape measure. Now I know that for my exact stand I'm going to build here, I actually want 36 inches. So I'm a little ways out, I need to come in. So I know my blocks are 15.5 inches, which they call them 16-inch blocks, 15.5, 15.5, and I want to put a 36-inch tank on it, so that's 31. We need 5 inches in between. Got a little bit more than, I've got 5.5, that sounds pretty good. So now I want to get 5.5 on this row, which, keep in mind, this would be your wall or something like that, or at least a starting point for you. You can do it in the middle of the room too, I suppose. So this one's out a little bit too much. I'm just going to bump this one in a bit. So we're at 5.5 there. For our final one here. All right, so if you are putting in your first stand, this step isn't really going to matter. For me, it will matter. I want to make sure that my stand isn't off compared to my other stands so they line up. If you're building against a wall, the first one, you just pick a point. And usually that's in your corner or something like that. So I'm just going to grab a straight edge. Yeah, no tools required. Here's a Phoenix 24/7 box. So I am flush with this one. Let me check the next one. I need to come in a little bit. Now again, you could probably be using a level or any tools you actually have, but the goal here, I want to show you can build this without using a tool. Just going to check this one. It's a little bit off. Alright, so now we've moved the bricks. Check one more time. And again, I'm using a tape measure, but I could be using that box. I could be using a million things just to make sure it's the same distance. Keep in mind, if you are building a rack, you'll want some distance from the wall. If you're going to use hang-on back filters or anything like that, it's a good idea to have some space. So we are at 5.5 and 5.5, 5.5. All right. Gotta grab a couple more blocks. You want to square these blocks up on them each level you go. It's going to make it easier for you. Don't wait till it's super heavy to square them up. Alright, so I like to go 2 bricks high. That gives me roughly 16 inches off the ground. And this isn't perfect yet. Now it's time to grab lumber out of my van. And we're going to use 2-inch by 4-inch by 10 feet long. And the reason is that dimensional lumber works out perfect to hold 4 20-gallon tanks, 20 highs, or 4 55. So I guess it holds 8 20s or 4 55s the way we're going to build it. But let me go grab some lumber. Set the lumber down in front here. One more trick. Alright, so we're doing this in real time. There's no special effects, anything like that. We're doing this on the clock. So the lumber, when you go pick it out, it's probably, you've got a better chance at winning the lotto than you do at finding lumber that's going to be straight at a Home Depot or Lowe's, let's be honest. We're not going there for the quality, we're going there for the price. And these 2x4x10s, I want to say they're like $3.50 each. Dig through the pile, avoid the ones that are just absolute garbage, that are super cracked up and, you know, basically are in a U shape. But if you've got a little bit of curve to it, or it bows in one way, it's going to be usable, honestly. Even if the board veers to one side, I personally, it works fine for me. So it's probably one of those things I should say, like, you should use $5,000 lumber that's perfect so you don't crack your tanks. The reality is, you're watching this video because you want to do something cheap, and this is that. So, you know, whenever you're saving money, you're probably giving up some of your luxuries, and that's having a perfect stand as well. Otherwise, you should, you know, pay a metal crafter or something like that, a welder, some ungodly amount of money to build you a stand. But even then, I don't even like metal stands because they eventually rust out in the fish room. But anyway, so look for reasonably straight wood. Not that hard. Dig through a pile, and you know, let's do a public service announcement here. If you're going to dig through a giant pile of wood and you've got 40 pieces of wood on the ground, I don't care who you are, it's your job to put that wood back. There's a lot of people that will say, well, you know, there's people that work there that they get paid to do that. Yeah, but that's half the reason I'm paying probably 20 cents more for this wood, because I got to pay some guy to put this wood back on the pile every time someone digs through it and doesn't put it back. So do us all a favor. If you take wood off the pile, you're not going to buy it, put it back on the pile. You know, it doesn't have to be stacked the neatest, you know. It's going to be a little bit, you know, a little bit of work, but, you know, we'll all pitch in, we'll all make it better for everyone. So, back to actually building this stand. We're going to put 3 pieces of lumber on here. We don't have to, we can just put 2, but if you're ever going to pull a tank off, like let's say you want to service it or you need to sterilize it, something, it's nice to have that center brace in there so that when you're pulling it off, it doesn't fall back in when you're, you know. Also, it feels better. And, you know, you sleep better at night knowing, well, I got 3 pieces of wood that seem stronger. Even though an aquarium is made to only be supported on its 4 corners, and that piece of wood that's going to be in the center should do absolutely nothing, you will sleep better at night. So, we're going to start installing wood. If there is a crown to the wood, which means it bows on one side, I recommend putting that on the top side, so when we put weight from the aquariums, once they're filled, they will level out. And that's the thing, that's why I'm not so worried about the wood. Once you put water in there, we start putting hundreds of pounds of water, it's going to be pretty darn straight. So, you grab a piece, you dodge the camera, and all the other aquariums you've got set up inside that room that you're trying to do this with. And we're roughly going to put this on here. We've got an edge. Let me go check the other one. So this is kind of why I said you don't really need a tape measure, because the span from here to there is going to be 10 feet, and then we just got to come in the middle and we got to drop a block in the middle. Yep, we could use a tape measure, we did, made it a little bit easier, otherwise I have to play with it, kind of going this way and that way a little bit to figure out where the block lies. But, I'm going to grab another one, actually going to check this one. So this one's got a curve going to the left a little bit, it'll be in the middle, it won't matter. And we're just going to put this one right down the center of the whole stand here, get it reasonably even. Alright, we're going to throw a third one on there. Take a look at your lumber, see the way you're playing with it. This one's reasonably straight. As far as the $3.50 2-foot 2x4 gets, alright, so now we've got our deck laid for aquariums. You know, plenty sturdy. I can sit on it now. This probably makes for a better video now that I can sit on my own stand. So next, we need to put in the next levels, or the next blocks. Now this, you can make it as short as you want, but I recommend, if you haven't built a fish room or racked yourself before, don't leave yourself with less than 6 inches, ideally no less than 8. And if you're like me, I want about as much as I can get. Over here I've got over a foot, and it makes it really nice for catching fish, not a care in the world. So yeah, we're going to stack. So on my stands here I use 4 blocks high, and on the second layer, and that's where it's going to stop. So that means I'm going to use, I've used 2 blocks down here times 3, so we're at 6 blocks. We're now going to put 4 times 3, 12. It's 18 cinder blocks. They're $1.06 a piece from where I'm buying them when I was Lowe's. And we've got 6 pieces of lumber we're going to use, and they were like $3.59 or $3.50, something like that. So you're at about 22 bucks there. So now I've got a stand that's going to hold 8 20 highs or 4 55 gallons for under 50 bucks. And the time it takes to do this video. I almost guarantee you it will take you longer to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick out lumber and grab your cinder blocks than it will to build this stand. It depends on, you know, how precise you want to be, but it's not that precise of a build, and it builds itself. Because we're not making any cuts, there's not a lot of places you can go wrong. So let me grab some more cinder blocks. I'm actually going to have to move it out just a tiny little bit because of my piping system here. About an inch. This is going to be that where I told you, oh man, it is not fun to move this whole thing after you've got some things already going on. Let's see if that'll do it, and then we'll adjust the other ones. Yeah, that's gonna do it. All right, let me just double check these. Yeah, like this one came, it moved. All right, back to building to go. So we're gonna do our second block up here. We're aligning all the blocks as we go. It only gets harder to align them if you don't do it now. They just get heavier and heavier is what happens. So I recommend doing it now. All right, so grab some more. Last one on this side. All right, now we'll do the center one. Grabbing some more cinder blocks. Hold on one second. Way out by the center here, adjusting the other. There we go. All right. And put the next one on top here. I recommend if it has a slot, some of these blocks have a slot. I'm sure there's a guy that builds these all day long, tell me what the slot is for. I have no idea. I put them towards the back just so I don't have to look at them because not all of them have it. All right, a couple more. Too far. The last one's here. I recommend not hitting a shop light with a cinder block. It makes a loud noise like that. All right. I'm gonna grab my 2x4s here. Take a look at it. Look down alongside here. This one's got a curve kind of going like that. So we're going to flip the crowns up. Center support in. That's not really a support, but the center piece. Where it close here. And I'll put the last one on. Grab my chair and we'll finish this video up. Alright, so we're done ranting. Let me show you a few more things about the stand, make life a little easier. Alright, so first thing you're going to notice is that you just built this $50 stand and it is wobbly. Look at this thing. Oh god, it's so wobbly. That's because there's no weight on it yet. We've got nothing holding it together. We're going to hold it with weight. So don't freak out. This thing's gonna be wobbly. Look at that. Wiggling up a storm. You come over here, a little bit wiggly. Why is this one a little bit wiggly? We don't have this much water in it. Let's go to the one that's filled up. Alright, here we are. This one is all full. Nice and sturdy. So yeah, I'm not saying it's going to hold up forever, but it's pretty cheap and it's pretty awesome. And it does get stronger the more weight you put on it. I know that seems counterintuitive, but I literally can't move. You know, I can't move. I got it rocking a little bit by really ramming into it, but you know, the water's barely moving after intentionally trying to make this system fail. It's sturdy when there's water in it. When there's not very much water in it, there's not very much weight. Much more wobbly. But as we get weight throughout this thing, it's going to hold it down. So the thing to know, we fit 20 highs here. There's a little bit of wiggle room on each side, so there's a little bit of wasted space with this system. You could tighten this up, but that would require tools, and I'm trying to show you an easy way. Also, I like having a little bit of wiggle room so the tanks can come in and out easier, and I can use like light stands so that I've got a little bit of wiggle room. The other thing is on the top here, because we're not putting in blocks, you know, you can see right here, oh, there's a tank sitting there. We can fit 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, and then we still got quite a bit of room. We almost could fit a 5th tank up here, but it's a couple inches short. So when I put these stands back to back like I am, I'm going to throw a 40 breeder on the end of this thing. And so now I've got, you know, a whole row over here. We're installing a whole other row over here, and I'm going to have, I can make this a display, I can just have a tank here, I can also put a tank down low here, but I've still got complete access to all my plumbing and stuff I want to get behind there. But yeah, so just know that in the bays below, you're going to make roughly 50-inch bays. And yes, it could be 220s, it could be 55 gallon. You could modify it a bit and get even an 18-inch tank in here front to back, but The blocks are only 46 inches, so you'd have to have some wood hang off on each end. We're not going to get into that. Up top here, you've obviously got 10 feet, and for aquariums, you would think these are 2-foot aquariums. Well, they're actually 2 feet and 1/2 inch. By the time you stack 4 of these things up, you've got 8 feet and 2 inches, which leaves less than 2 feet for the last tank. It only is 22 inches, so you're actually short by 2.5 inches. So you got to figure out something to do. Could be a 10-gallon at the end here. Could be that. Could be other things too. That's for you to decide. You could also, like in this stand, I just left a gap. I have a gap in the middle, and I have a gap at each end. I put blocks up there, which those blocks I'm not even going to use. So they're just coming back down. They're just sitting there for now while they're out of the way. But it allows me to reach electrical and stuff like that. So it's not a bad thing to have a gap. I could probably put a 5-gallon here on end, put some bettas, whatever I want to do. But yeah, so I do recommend this stand. I like it. I use it. It's very easy. You don't have any of the pitfalls of building your own stand out of wood where you have to be a carpenter, you've got to make things level, you've got to, you might have to sand, you might have to buy the right screws, you have to design it right. A lot of people don't even design their wood stand right. They have all the downward pressure resting on screws instead of supports like they should. With this stand at least, the weight does transfer down correctly. We don't want to do more than a 4-foot span. I take that back. I don't know that it can't do more than a 4-foot stand. I can't sleep at night if I was doing 6 feet or 8 feet. I think it would bow. This has worked well for me, so I don't push it because I go, well, every 4 feet I can give up 6 inches so I can sleep at night. And yeah, so maybe you can push it further. I'm sure there's fish rooms that do, but I am not pushing any further because I don't need to. And that's, you know, makes it easy. By the way, if you don't have a Rolly mechanics stool and you're building a fish room, you should get one. Alright, so got our top layer on here. We could technically go another row. We want to delete this block here so we'd only have 3. It'd be tighter above the aquariums, but you could fit that 3rd row in there. So let me address what every video I've done so far someone leaves in the comments, and that is, what are you going to do when there's an earthquake? And my answer is the same thing I'm going to do with every other stand, and that is hope that it's not that bad. I've worked at fish stores that have been through earthquakes. I've talked to people that have been in the industry a long time. These are wholesalers, these are fish store owners, stuff like that. The reality is, if there is an earthquake that is bad enough that's going to make these stands come down, the tanks, there's nothing you can do for them. So, like, let's run over some of the options here. We could, let's say, mortar these together. We could also put some supports, 2x4s, connecting these together. We could also run it to a wall and support it that way. So we could make this structure, and that's what we would do, is make it a structure, and we'd make it super rigid, so it would not move at all. Alright? What's going to happen then? Earthquake's going to happen, we're going to start shaking, or rocking back and forth, or up and down, and the aquariums just walk off the stands onto the floor. And that's what everyone's worried about is, well, you know, the aquarium's going to break. Well, they're going to break whether you build super stand or not. And I've seen lots of tanks, they go through an earthquake just fine. So then, you might say, well, I'll build superstructure, you know, and I'll make it the hardiest thing you've ever seen. Then, I will attach the aquariums to the wall also. Or let's say you want to put a lip on the stand to enclose that aquarium so that it cannot move. Then what's going to happen is you're going to get an earthquake that's either going to shift like this, or it's going to do this and roll. It's just going to snap the panels on the glass, because now you've taken something that could move, you know, while the earthquake's happening and shimmy around, and yes, maybe it falls off, or maybe it just sloshes a bunch of water around. That's typically what happens, is a lot of water goes on the floor, but your tank typically will stay on the stand. So you're just going to turn this into a rigid structure that now all it does is either A, bounces the aquarium very hard and it's going to shatter it, or B, it's going to go like this or like this and just snap panels. So that doesn't work either. And when you put a front lip on the aquarium, especially in a fish room, water's going to get there all the time, and you're going to have to deal with black mold and things like that. Those are way more likely to get you sick and hurt you than the aquarium or than the earthquake is. You know, not that we're not planning for earthquakes. I'm in the Northwest. I have earthquake insurance on my home even, but sometimes you gotta, you know, do what's called accepted reality. You can only plan for so much. I would say the bigger threats you have in your fish room are starting a fire. Most people's electrical is horrible in their fish room. There's a reason you want to put drip loops and everything, and you want outlets as high as you can get them. Mold, black mold will literally kill you. And there's so many rooms that don't run a dehumidifier, don't have good enough ventilation. Those things are way more likely to harm you and your home, or ruin the value of your home, than the earthquake. So, I'm not saying this is earthquake proof. I'm just saying I've yet to see an aquarium stand that is. And that goes for ones made by companies, that goes for ones that you can make. I can't think of a system that will stop aquariums from breaking. Now you might go, well, I can make one that's not going to break at a 6.0. Well, this isn't going to break at 6.0 either. You know, we're talking about an earthquake big enough to cause some serious damage. And that, what is that, 7.2, 7.3, 7.5, somewhere in there. So now that I've got that out of the way, I'm just going to say I realize that in a big enough earthquake, this thing's coming down. In a big enough earthquake, my whole fish store is coming down also. Also, all the aquariums that are in your house on normal fish stands, they're all coming down too. You know, also, my floor is probably going to be cracked. Also, in a big enough earthquake to take these down, I probably won't have power. I probably won't have running water. There's going to be a lot of things that are going wrong. And even if somehow I made it so none of these broke, with no power and no water, my fish aren't going to live that long anyway. You know, maybe a week if I've got generators and stuff like that. But by the time that's happening, you'd have to have a lot of gas stored. So anyway, I'm putting that to rest. I'm saying that here is a $50 stand for your fish room that's been tried and true, used by wholesalers, fish stores, fish rooms for many, many, many years, that can be put together in way less time, probably than the rant I just went on about the earthquakes. So yes, no tools required. That was a great part. One thing it does require, I will say that, is you got to have a buddy or own a vehicle that can move 10-foot pieces of lumber. You know, because this whole point of this video is no tools required. We'd have no way to cut it down. You could have it cut down at Home Depot or Lowe's. You could have it cut right in the center technically, and at that center brace that we put in, the center row column, you could have the two pieces come together there, and that would technically work, but that just wouldn't be as strong, and it's actually more work. And if they don't cut it right, you run into a problem. So, you know, I would get someone some pizza and borrow their truck, and you know, let them know ahead of time. We're talking about 6 pieces of lumber, not moving your entire house, so it might actually help you. So yeah, stand, easy to do, not the prettiest thing. You can dress it up by painting these black if you wanted to. You can hang some curtains. There's a lot of things you could do to pretty it up. That takes time. This is for a fish room, and that's why I've made this video. I want to celebrate some things. We have 4,500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. That's awesome. If you like what we're doing here, go ahead and give us a like or a share. You know, spread the knowledge around. That's why I'm making these videos. If you like what you see, tell others. That's the only reason. Because otherwise, I could build these all day long and not have to have the public just tell me about how they're not earthquake safe all day long. I can tell myself that. I can go, oh man, I hope there's not an earthquake. We can all say that to ourselves. So, you know, the goal is get the information out there, and you know, tune in for more videos. If you hate this, let's say you'll never use this. Well, maybe there's another video you're going to use. So, Until the next video, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.